Hello and welcome to the Futro Hidden Movie Gems podcast. I am your host, Ty Spiker Christensen. Nope. I don't know. I can't think of a quote right now. I'll think of one in a minute. We've got Jordan Christensen on the podcast here.
No.
And we've got Cameron Mickle on the podcast.
What's a bad miracle? Or 5 stars, Angel. 5 stars.
Or have a I have to capture the perfect shot.
Yes.
You want to
He doesn't
capture
deserve
the
it.
unfilmable shot?
No.
That's so dumb.
No, my
That's so
favorite was
dumb.
when he said, I literally laughed out loud when he said, "You don't deserve this," and he runs away with the camera.
Yeah, I literally laughed out loud too. Also, when he's like filming, he's just like, ah! It's like- and then the wind gets sucked up. You see his feet. He's like, ah! So funny, dude. Guys,
I enjoyed this. This is fun.
today we are talking about Jordan Peele's new movie, Nope. Came out in 2022. It's still in theaters. If you're lucky, go see it. Because this is a spectacle, according to Jordan Peele and everyone else. That's what this whole movie is about. Spectacle.
Oh, did you listen to Jared talk about it?
I did, and I actually thought it was interesting because he was catching things that I didn't. What
Yeah.
made me laugh when he
He
said
hit
he
it at a
felt
different
nothing.
angle.
My favorite is when he said he felt nothing when Michael Wincott, actor Antlers Holst, the director, trying to catch the unfilmable shot. He said he felt nothing. I was like, I felt humor. I thought it was fetching hilarious.
I thought it was so funny.
But I don't think
I
that
was
was the intended
dying with laughter.
emotion.
I don't know. I actually want to talk to you about that, Cameron, because I have a few thoughts about this movie. So, just from what I observed and then what I've heard from other people, I'm like, kind of like in the middle somewhere. So let's get into this movie. It says, the residents of a lonely gulch in inland California bear witness to an uncanny and chilling discovery. This is an alien invasion movie. It's one alien, a flying saucer. Looks awesome. Just nice and simple. A giant hole.
What?
Just...
What was
Demetrius kisses you, man.
the
Sucks you
perfect
up.
relation? We said it was War of the Worlds meets what?
Oh, so what I texted you, I was like, this movie is, well, you said War of the Worlds. I think I was
It's so
leaning
War
more
of the
toward,
Worlds.
Yeah.
it is War of the Worlds, but dang it.
Especially when they're all
Signs
inside the alien, and then they're all screaming. That's totally when...
I thought Arrival at moments.
Arrival. Let me see what I texted you, because now it's bothering me. Did I text Cheap, or did I text podcast?
But, okay, and I have to ask, of all Jordan Peele's movies now, where does it
Definitely
rank?
last,
I think
not
it's...
even close. Come on.
No, it's a second.
It's way better than us.
No,
Yeah,
it's
way better
not.
than
You guys
us.
are high.
It is.
You guys are smoking.
The general
Dude, that was
consensus
so
is
dumb.
that Get Out, this movie, and then...
Dude, although there are things that I liked about this more than Get Out, and there are things that I like about Get Out
Yes.
more than this.
What? How dare you put this in the same breath as Get Out? How dare you? You watch your mouth.
No, I thought it was a close tie. Like,
Oh, you know what? So I put. It reminds
Make
me
me
of
sick,
Jaws
Jordan.
a little bit.
oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Like if you think about it, there's a this
Well,
is a
and there was
creature
interviews
movie.
with Jordan Peele, and he said he drew a lot of inspiration from Jaws.
Oh, that's awesome. See,
That's
I love
cool.
hearing that because I'm like, yeah, for me,
Less
like,
is
the
more.
scenes. Yeah, less is more. Like that creature floating in this clouds, it reminded me a lot of Jaws.
Yeah, and they should have done
the
that
shark,
more and
because
less of the fetching
you don't
green
see-
square going. I was like, boo, stupid.
No, I actually want to
Underwhelmed.
bring up about. I want to talk to you about that, about being underwhelmed. So let's get into this movie. What was it like watching it for the first time and then rewatching it for the podcast? Well, it's in theaters now, so I only saw it once. But I went and saw it because I actually got really excited when I was like, oh, Jordan Peele has a new movie. I'm definitely going to go see it in the theater. Because regardless of what I really know about any movie-going experiences these days, is there's not a lot of movies that get me excited. So
Yeah.
I saw that Jordan Peele was making a movie, and I find his movies very interesting. At the very least, very much looking forward to a discussion afterwards. And it didn't disappoint. This movie actually has a lot more meat, even though it's probably a more straightforward narrative, like creature monster movie. But there's a lot to pick apart from this movie, and there's a lot of crazy things that I don't understand. So I'm going to need you guys to fill me in. Like
Fetching floating
all
shoe.
Stephen Yoon's thing.
Floating
Yeah,
shoe.
Floating
What the
shoe.
F?
What is it? I have
Bad
one
miracle.
theory that I read, and I was like, I kind of like that. So we'll get into that. But anyway, this movie was I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a fun movie going experience, better than most of the movies you see in theaters these days. So anyway, lots of fun. Jordan Peele does not disappoint. But anyway, Cameron, how about you? What was it like watching it for the first time, and if you rewatched it at all?
Did you
So I
go
just
with
wa-
Drew, or did you just go yourself?
Yeah, so I saw this the same night. It was a double feature. I saw Bullet Train first, which was really fun. And then it went to Nope. And I kept saying I had low expectations. I did not have low expectations because, like Get
Because
Out.
you're obsessed with Us and Get Out.
Yeah, Get Out's my top 10.
You talk about Get Out.
And then Us was
Yeah.
it's borderline my top 100. I don't like thinking about it too hard because then the more I think about it, the more I hate it. But then I'm like, oh no, but
Yes.
that thriller feeling, I was like, with just those four people standing in the driveway, I was like, that is the scariest shit I've ever seen.
Yeah. Good. Like I said, Us had a really great.
The strongest
moments.
intro. I just was like,
Home Invasion was really good.
And I feel the same way about this. I think this had an amazing intro, and then just kind of, I think everything went downhill after the rain scene. I thought the rain scene was just the peak of the tension, and I was like, oh my gosh.
Oh, yeah.
And then I think everything after that was, I was
raining
just
down.
kind of
Yeah,
underwhelmed
yeah.
after that. I was like, it died by a balloon popping in it? Like, are you for real? I was like, and then also I thought, okay, like there was multiple times, and everyone in the theater too, like when we were jumping out of our seats, we're like, oh my gosh. And he had me on the edge of my seat the entire first half of the movie, and I just thought he was killing it. And I was just like, okay, like I will get
it had Signs, Ty. That was the one we thought it was like.
Yeah, Signs. Yeah, I said that.
Because
Signs.
that's the, like, getting like images.
Atmospheric,
of the
farmland, but this one's, like I said, inland California, deserty, just like a farmer
cloud's not moving.
with aliens. I love that stuff. Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
Like secluded.
And so
but it had like an update.
And kind of along those lines, like I was just like, oh, this is really good, and like leading up to something really good. And then it was like almost like 10 Cloverfield Lane finish where we're just like, oh, it's an alien. I'm like, what the fudge? Like, I don't know. I was just very underwhelmed. For me,
wait, did you think it wasn't going to be an alien?
No, I knew it was going to be an alien.
Oh, okay, but you just said like 10 Cloverfield Lane was lame because of the reveal at the end. But
I just felt it was really underwhelmed. I was like, because in 10 Cloverfield Lane, I was just like, oh wow, like I guess. But that was how I felt like at the end of this movie. I was like, okay, I guess it just popped and it's gone. And so like for me, Jordan Peele's films, like Get Out is perfect, like watch, and then like a perfect viewing experience, and then like a perfect unpacking. And then Us is a perfect viewing, horrendous unpacking. And you're just like, this makes no sense. And then this movie I felt like was a average experience, but really well like unpacking. Like the more I talk about this movie, the more I enjoy it, and it's a movie I really want to enjoy more. I just was a little underwhelmed at the fact that he couldn't, like Get Out, where I was just like, oh my gosh, I love the viewing experience, and then I even want to unpack what other things meant. I think because it obviously takes lots of skill to write things with lots of undertones and meaning, but it also takes an even like greater level of skill to be able to write that, but then also have like the audience engaged the entire time, to not create like a Green Knight where it's like, oh, this is all artistic, you have to interpret everything, but to create something like, oh, you can be stimulated, but then also look back and you're like, whoa, wait a minute. Like that's kind of what I was like. I feel like he's best at, and so I was a little disappointed. Just he didn't. It was like the opposite of Us, because Us was like amazing stimulation, and then like unpacking, and then this one was like simulation.
Maybe it's just because
unpacking.
you build it up so much in your head, just like Jaws. But then when you finally see the creature, it's just like it's almost like you built it up too much.
Yeah, that's why I felt like I wish they would have done a little bit more of the less is more. And I guess you still got to show it.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. The
but
wonderment, it reminded me of Signs, and the fact that there was a cloud sitting there in the sky not moving, that entertains me much more.
Much
than
better. Yeah, then, and
like,
especially when it like
seeing,
fanned out, and it was like
it's there. Yeah.
Blah, blah. And I was like, what?
I want to talk to you again. Remind me to talk to you about the creature design. So, Jordan, how about you? What was like watching it for the first time, rewatching it, or
well, we all saw it the first time because it's in the theaters. I went in very low expectations because I not to say that Peele's not makes amazing movies, which he does, but I get worried, especially like as a director, is like he made 2 really good movies, so it's like, oh shoot, is he going to keep hitting home runs?
He's literally M. Night Shyamalan it right now.
Yeah, or is he going to start going downhill? So I was like, oh no.
Literally, you had M. Night Shyamalan who made Unbreakable, and then he made
Sixth Sense.
Sixth Sense. These were like genre-bending movies with like twists, but also like a really clever. His style was all over it.
And then
Jordan Peele's
Signs,
style
and then
is
it's
very
just
much
like,
over
oh
these
no.
movies. And then Signs was his 3rd movie, Alien movie, and that was the turning point where some people were like, this is exactly what's happening right now.
And
then The Village. So I'm like,
Lady
if
in the
Jordan
Water.
Peele's next movie centers around some stupid village set back and I'm like, he's doing the Shyamalan. He's pulling the Shyamalan. He's gonna start doing more and more twists that are just absolutely useless. I'm like, you don't always have to do the same, like, because Get Out was like the first, I think, what did they call it, like a racial thriller or socioeconomic thriller or something like that. I don't know what they called it. They called it, like, it was a new thing, right? I mean, it was like this thriller based around racial tensions and stereotypes and stuff like that, right? Like, it was a new movie. Like, they just didn't have movies like this. It got like nominated for Best Picture. So like, where do you go from here? And it was like when Sixth Sense came out, it was like hailed as the scariest movie of all time. They called M. Night Shyamalan the next Steven Spielberg, is what they said. And they're saying the same thing for Jordan Peele.
Whoever said that should be murdered.
No, but they said it when he
Or
had just
fired.
finished Unbreakable. And then I think it was by the time he was filming Signs, or he had just finished
Yeah,
Signs.
he
They were like,
finished
this guy
two
can't do no wrong.
masterpieces.
Yes. Yeah, he had two. Unbreakable is a masterpiece, and so is
Sixth Sense.
Sixth Sense.
They are.
Signs, I still really like
It's
it,
really
but it
good.
isn't a masterpiece. But
And
it's
it
still really
holds
good.
up
So
really
again,
well,
they were
too.
like, this guy could do no wrong, and that's kind of what I'm seeing here with Peele, because it's just funny that it's both of their third movie, and they're doing an alien. I love the similarities here, because they both made a genre-bending movie. You know, Shyamalan was making twist popular. Like, movie with a twist is like a thing, right? That was his thing. And now this one, it's like, oh, political, socioeconomic, racial tension thrillers. Because all his movies have those themes in it. Like Us and Get Out were very much all about race, you know, all about, you know.
Well, he has this
being viewed through the lens of
perspective
race.
that not everybody can have, so it's kind of cool
sure.
that he uses that to his advantage.
For sure.
And telling a story
it still
nobody else
doesn't
told.
feel necessarily like preachy or dumbed down. Like,
Yes.
there are moments where I'm like, whatever. Like, because I have a few in this movie where I was like, okay, I think
Yes, I
can lay
don't.
down here.
I liked it better when you didn't tell me your ideas about it.
Yeah, exactly.
So I went in with very low expectations, and I just went in to be entertained, and I was very entertained because that's all I wanted, and I was very happy. This was a very fun movie, so I had a good time.
Yeah, excellent. And this movie, like I said, after I watched my viewing experience, I looked over to the fat guy next to me, you know, and then I realized I was looking into a mirror. I was like, oh, and then I leaned over to the other side, and I was like, hey, like, what'd you think? And he was like, I don't even know this person. I'm sitting 2 seats over from him, and he's like, oh, I didn't like it as much as Jordan Peele's other 2 films or whatever. It's my least favorite. And I was
Smart
like, oh,
man.
really? Well, I thought this, and I gave him some of my opinion. He goes, oh, yeah, I think I like that. And then he like got up and left, and I was like, well, there you go. Maybe he'll take that, whatever I said to him, and I'll probably be sharing some of those ideas that I shared with him in the podcast today. But anyway, I was just like, I like talking about this movie, so I'm really excited to talk about it here with you guys. So let's get into 2 of our favorite things. What worked really, really well. Cameron, how about you start us off? 2 of your favorite things from this film.
I think, especially in the first half, Jordan Peele does a great job of subverting our expectations, and that's what I really appreciated. Is there was many times where I was like, I mean, that scene with the kid with his like crooked neck, I was like, oh no, and he's just walking towards him, and that's when he's like, no, and so, but then you're like, oh, it's just some kids playing a prank, and you're like, oh my gosh, and then like something else happens, and it's like, oh, it's just a praying mantis on the camera. Like, there were so many times where your like expectations are like, oh my gosh, if this is the reveal, it's not, and so it kind of keeps you on the edge and be like, almost like, okay, just show us the reveal of like what it is. And so I thought that was really good and really well done, because then like I was saying, like the entire audience, like all of us were on the edge of our seat, and like I'm trying to remember which jump scare wasn't there one. I'm trying to remember the jump scare. There was like a jump scare that was really good that got everyone in the audience.
So would you say he was building tension? Like what movie builds tension so well?
This really well directed movie by Quentin Tarantino that stars Brad Pitt and Christoph Waltz, but I can't remember the name of it. And
Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Yeah, I think that one. No, but so
I
then,
didn't use Christoph in that one.
so what I think my second favorite thing about it is, but at the same time, it's kind of like also my nitpick, is I think one of the coolest things about this is just how much you can, like, how many different interpretations of the movie there are, and how this is such like a movie that has so many different like people with ideas, and be like, oh no, this is an idea, and then like, oh no, this was how I interpreted it, and like that's so cool. And I thought it was so interesting how like people are presenting different ideas. I just didn't love the fact that that's like one of the few things that's making me really enjoy it. So I think it plays to its benefit, but at the same time, it's a little bit of its detriment. Versus like movies like Donnie Darko, I love the movie, and then I love the discussion as well.
And I love Jake Gyllenhaal's Rockin' Bod.
And Maggie Gyllenhaal.
No. I'd kiss Jake Gyllenhaal before I kiss Maggie Gyllenhaal.
I would as well.
Glad we can see eye to eye, Cameron. Can always agree on some things. Jordan, how about you, man? 2 of your favorite things from Mope.
So Cameron, I have to disagree with you just on that last part because I actually think less is more. So I'm glad that they kept it so simple because I didn't want a ton. I just felt like that second half was like, it's so, like, you have to think about this in order for it to really, you can't just think of it on a surface level.
I was the reverse. I didn't think about the second half of Us, and that's why I enjoyed it. And it's funny that we're like reversed now because now
the more
you're
you
like,
think about it, the less you like it.
Because I just like didn't think about it. And I was like, oh, this is actually really fun. And then I thought about it.
But I know what Jordan's saying because
I
they
just like to turn my brain
They
off.
literally sat you down and she was talking to herself, the actress. She was like, here's the reveal. Here's what you need to know. This whole underground world, and you're like, okay, I just tune out. Like, I really do. And I'm with you, Cameron. You're like, oh, it's an exciting home invasion movie. You're like, that's like a very small part of it.
Yeah, I'm just like, I don't really care about all this stuff.
This is great.
This
Turn
is
up
really
your
good
brain.
thriller.
Don't even try. It's the Tenet. Christopher Nolan. It's Jordan Peele's Tenet. Don't try to understand it. Just feel it. Just shut up and watch the movie, you idiot.
Yeah, I was looking to just turn off my brain, and that's what I did, and I had a
Turn off your
blast. Yeah, because this one was just a fun thrill ride the whole time. So, their performances, holy crap, wow, just amazing. Not sure I love the characters per se, but I love their acting. Acting was amazing.
Come on, you love Emerald. She was so endearing.
Annoying.
I have to hustle to get my money. She was great. I'm on Twitter, on Instagram. You can follow me there. I loved it, dude. She was great. She was so believable.
Yes, her character was. I mean,
Daniel Kaluuya.
They
was
nailed
great
him.
Too. I love him. Yeah.
Like they nailed their characters. And their performances were amazing.
To me, one of my favorite characters from this movie. So one of my favorite things was
guy.
Brandon Perea. Yes, the tech guy. I think Angel
funny,
Torres was one of my favorite characters.
He was the most likable character in the whole show.
I like the documentary guy. He was my favorite.
He's so funny. He is so funny.
He was so good.
Holstein.
Unintentionally funny.
Yeah, unintentionally.
Cameron, you recognize him from
really?
Chris, the Count of Monte Cristo, right?
Yeah, dude, he's the prison warden.
My
dude.
gosh,
I was just about to mention
totally
that. Yeah, I don't have all day. Actually, I have all the time in the world.
Oh my gosh, dude,
Yes,
he's so
that
funny.
freak, that guy. I know. When I saw him, I was like, "Oh, that's creepy," and that's why I was waiting for him to do something creepy. And the best part is when he takes his film and he's like, "It's too good for you." Like, he just runs away with the camera. That made me laugh out loud. And I was thinking of you guys when I saw that scene. I was like, "This is something that me and you guys would do." Like, I'm getting out of here. Like, some reason it's like, and you're sad about that moment. It was so like laughable because they didn't do a good job at establishing it to where it was literally the end of a joke. Where Jared has watched it and he was probably like, "Oh, like I don't feel anything for this guy dying." It's like, but we're all laughing. We're like, "This is the best!" Like, I freaking
so
love that
funny.
he's dead. But I actually have a thought about that and why it happened. So real quick, my second favorite thing was Steven Yeun. His backstory, the B plot of this movie is so terrifying. This child star. Did you not like it, or was it just
I don't like. I hate monkeys. Me and Drew share a fear of chimpanzees. And
CGI monkeys, Cameron.
Dude, I don't. This wasn't quite Rise of the Planet of the Apes, but like it almost took me out a few times. But I like the way they kept it like kind of out of shot, out of frame, out of focus, through a veil, like all the things.
Until that last shot, and I was like, that is such a CGI fetching
dude, that's what scared me, was the fetching monkey getting his brains blown out all over. That's what made me jump, dude. The fetching monkey's like, ah! It's like terrifying chimpanzees murdering everyone on set because a balloon popped. Like, holy shiz. Anyway, find a different line of work, folks.
But that's to debate. Like, was it because the shoe was standing up? I was assuming something in the air. Like, animals act differently when there's like nature's changing or there's a creature nearby. I think it's because the alien was there. That's why the monkey was acting crazy.
No, that's years from then. I mean, no, it's true. The alien.
Interesting.
That is interesting that you say that. That is really interesting that you say that because the alien was there.
Yes, because the shoe was standing straight up.
Right. But why? Did anything else in the movie levitate other than get sucked up in the hole? No, that's true. But actually, I have a thought about this. Okay. So I want to unpack real quick.
Wait, let's do nitpicks real quick.
Okay, yeah. Do nitpicks. Let's go for it.
Because I got
A shoe doesn't balance like that. That was supernatural, right? It's like, is there more meaning to that?
100%.
But
Yeah.
Get into it. Get into it. But
and that's
what's
kind
your
of
nitpick?
just one quick thing before I go into my nitpicks. I did think it, and that's what it's almost kind of my nitpick, but it was like, so I really wish they would have gone more the route of a bad miracle and maybe not an alien, or just like left that. That's what I wish they would have done. Like the less is more. Been like, is it actually an alien, or is it just like a bad miracle and there's something kind of happening? I wish they would have kind of leaned into more of that, because that's what he's like, is there a word for a bad miracle? And she was like, nope. And so that's why I was like, oh, this is really fun. Like they're going to kind of play the whole thing.
That's the title of the movie.
Yeah, the Leonardo DiCaprio and Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. And so that was kind of how I wish they would have done that, because I thought that the whole idea of a bad miracle is super interesting, because like there's lots of talk about a miracle.
Just real quick, you wanted it to be ambiguous whether or not there was an alien. Is that?
I wouldn't mind a reveal at the end. I just wish it would have longer been like, is there like something cursed about this place?
Never have the shark ever come up on the deck of the ship, is what you're saying.
Well, like
never
no,
have the
I was
alien-
saying like
Then
at
we
the
could
end,
create theories
Like Jaws.
about the end too, right? Is that what you're kind of saying?
Yeah, because that's what I wish, because even if you like show glimpses of it, or like I wish they would, like the first time they would have ever seen it is like that TMZ guy is out there and he's just like, oh, we've heard like rumors of this, like, and then you try to like check it out and then like he sees a glimpse of it and like dies or something, or like gets sucked up when he sees a glimpse. I just wish there would have been that more like the ambiguous thriller vibe than like the, oh, it's sci-fi alien like thriller. I was like,
Yeah, a pretty straightforward monster movie. Yeah, very little ambiguity as far as that's concerned. I totally agree.
And Ty pointed out, I like Ty, you pointed out the girl without the face, or maybe Cameron pointed that out.
Oh my God.
that's the girl that got
From the
attacked by the
monkey.
monkey. Yeah.
I didn't know
got
that.
her face torn up, dude. Chimpanzee was eating it.
I thought
clawing
she was
at
like
it,
a
tearing it up,
zombie,
dude.
and I was like, "What the what?" And then I was talking with Drew after. He's like, "Yeah, I was a chick I was eaten by
Steven
the
Yeun's
monkey."
first
And I
crush,
was like,
dude. His co-star. You know, bless her heart. Still hanging out with him to this day, and his wife pimping him out to be Ricky. Hey, this is that one child star actor, you know, you love from that TV show. And then they love to see the shrine of the monkey chimpanzee show. So one thing I thought was interesting. So I want to get into some of the things. One thing I wanted to directly, Cameron, in response to your about the alien being underwhelming. So Jordan Peele came out talking about this movie, and basically its theme was about spectacle. And I thought this was interesting because one thing about movies, I love meta movies, and my favorite meta movie is any movie that's about a different subject, like alien invasion, and they make it about filmmaking and about movie making, because it's something that I'm very familiar with. When we were kids making zombie movies in our backyard, I loved it. Like, I loved just being inspired by the films we were seeing and wanting to make movies like the ones we saw on screen.
If you like meta movie making, Ty, you need to see The Rehearsal.
I know,
It'll
you
blow your
mentioned
mind.
it. I will be checking it out. I saw a trailer for it, and I was like, I don't even understand the trailer. I literally could not comprehend what the trailer was talking about. And I'm like, I just got to go and watch
It's
this show.
Synecdoche, New York. It's literally the same thing.
I'll be really interested in seeing it. So, but what I thought was interesting is, so the alien, right? Like, the whole movie, if like we're to argue, like, oh, this whole movie is building up to this great giant reveal, giant monster. It's going to be really well ornate, or there's going to be amazing explosions at the, like, spectacle, right? Like Michael Bay is what I think of when I think of spectacle. It's just about what looks visually the coolest. And this movie, I think, it sounds weird to say this, like the alien is not necessarily super overwhelming. It's like very plain, simple. It's like, it is a saucer shape, which I thought was really cool, and has just a circular hole. And that hole, dude, as it flies over you, just sucks you inside, and then you get into like this really pretty looking, I don't know, when you were a kid, you played with those parachute cords.
Are you fetching kidding me, bro? I got such
That when they're being
claustrophobia.
sucked in and they're all cramped into each other, and you see the horse above them, and they're all being squished and bleeding out together. That's pretty horrifying. But I mean, at the very beginning, the opening shot is like inside the alien's mouth or stomach or whatever, and I thought that was an interesting choice. Like the weird billowing, it almost looks like curtains or waves. It's just it's very calming and soothing. Like, it was just very different than what you'd expect, because all the other alien movies, they're like the little creatures that you see, like the toys that Stephen Young's family sells on their farm, like, or the theme park or whatever attraction, the tourist trap, really. But they sell these little alien, bughead owl eyes, and it made me think of like, the Encounters of the Third Kind, like all the alien. I've seen like a lot of alien movies, dude. They're out there, man. I watched my fair share of the best X-Files, episodes. I love alien stuff. So I think maybe Jordan Peele was intentionally choosing an alien that actually looked less menacing and look, it subverted your expectations by doing something that actually looked beautiful. Like at the end, it wasn't even just like the flying saucer is like what we identify as aliens, and you assumed it's a spaceship. It's actually a creature, and then it like opens up and it's like this beautiful butterfly or something, or a flower. I don't know. It does not look menacing or threatening at all, did it? Like even when it was taking form, you see the thing, and I'm like, what am I even looking at? I was mesmerized though, but I also wasn't scared. So I would just argue that maybe he was trying to subvert your expectations with the spectacle of an alien. Maybe, and was it successful or not? I like what you said. You're like, I was underwhelmed, and it's like, yeah.
And I understand that, but seeing that kind of goes into some of my nitpicks. My biggest nitpick is the conflicting tones. It's because there were some tones of like serious like suspense, and then they were kind of like, I felt like undercut by moments of comedy that they were like that I would laugh at, and I'm like, should I be laughing right now? I don't like that I'm laughing right now. Like for example, the
antlers.
Nope. No. Yeah, well that as well. Like just moments like that, and same thing with like when he's in the car, it's like you can tell it's looming over him, and you're like, oh shiz, and then you see him lock the door, and he's like, nope, because I laughed, and I was like, and then I was like,
all laughed, and
I was like, do I want to be laughing right now? Because the moment I laughed, all the tension was gone, and I was just like, oh, he'll be all right. Like he made a joke about it, because even the thing crashed in through. That was the thing that got everyone to jump. We were all like, and then you're like, oh, like he's gonna be fine.
That was the jump scare that got me. That stupid horse coming through his fetching windshield.
Yeah. So that was kind of the thing that I just felt like they were kind of conflicting tones with the humor, and that's I just felt like it would have been more natural. I wish it would have been a little bit more natural than like kind of undercutting the suspense.
The other one I wanted to talk about is the TV show. So the B plot, Stephen Yoon's character, he's Ricky on this little stand-up show.
I forgot to shout out to him. He was great.
Yeah, you call him Glenn from The Walking Dead.
He's in the movie.
Yeah. Stephen
that was
Yeun,
the thing too.
he should earn your respect. You should know his name by now.
He's
Stephen
on the
Yeun.
poster, and he was in the movie for like 15 minutes.
That's actually one of my nitpicks is I wanted to see more of him and his B plot. I loved his story. It was so horrifying and so scary, and there's a lot of tie-ins from his story to what Daniel Kaluuya goes through with this alien, okay? So one thing I think is really great is at the very beginning you find out that OJ, played by Daniel Kaluuya, and his sister, Emerald, they run this Hollywood show horse thing where all the horses that are in film and in commercials, they're the animal trainers for those. And they keep referring back to their great ancestor. That was like the first video ever recorded was like an African-American guy riding a horse, It's like a looped video. I'm like, that's really cool. Like, again, I love, this is the meta element where it's like, oh, make something that's completely historic. So the characters in this movie are like, we're going to make a movie. And I think, honestly, Jordan Peele sees a lot of himself in Daniel Kaluuya. I think he uses, this is his second film with him since Get Out. And I love that he's like an aspiring film director with his sister. And he's like, we're going to make the Oprah shot. We're going to film the alien, and it's going to be unbelievable, and people are going to see this spectacle and be wowed by what we've done. And like that's the meta element for me with Jordan Peele, where he's like, I'm going to try to make this alien movie, and I'm going to try to have spectacle and wow people. Anyway, I just love that when it's like he's speaking through his characters, and they literally are talking, even though it's an alien invasion movie, these characters have similar motivations to what Jordan Peele is doing in real life. So I love that.
Yeah. And
go ahead.
There's kind of two theories that I like heard and that made me appreciate it more and I thought was cool. Was one talking about how it's all kind of like a symbolism or metaphor for how we consume media, and that like the more we look in, like the more we just stare into it, like media, like the more it controls us and the more in danger we are. But like we have to make that choice to like, look away. Like that was what will save us. And I thought I
really like that, Cameron.
I thought that was really cool. And then same thing with the other thing that I thought was really interesting. That was actually something that I thought of was what was it? Just left my mind.
Brain fart. If you think of it, just think for a second.
Okay.
I like what you said about spectacle. So one is there's a lot of visual imagery with the eyes. Like I really like that when he looks into the horse's eye and he sees the reflection, the horse freaks out. There's this is one thing that Jared pointed out that I didn't think of, was that someone said it was like an eye. That's what I thought it was. The hole was like a gaping eye, like you're right in the center of your eye, your pupil, the black hole right in the center of your eye. But he said it actually thought of like a camera lens. And I'm like, oh, that's really interesting because again, and the whole art of filmmaking, I like what you said about consuming media. Like if you look directly into it and you get hypnotized by it, you can get like radicalized or you could be activated. You're like tune your brain out and you're like sucked in, right? They got you.
Yeah.
And so I really like the idea that like as long as you master your emotions and your fear, like Daniel Kaluuya, OJ's character, He like doesn't look at the creature. He's not willing to look at it, and because he's not willing to give it that power over him, he's able to dominate this beast, right? He can like go away from being eaten from it, you know. So I just think that's really interesting.
Yeah.
So
I remembered I don't remember my theory. I just remember another theory that I heard that I really like that talks about exploiting like trauma and talking about how every single like are exploding things for our personal gain. And so, like many times, to
exploiting things, yeah,
to the expense of other things, but for our personal gain. Because even like Glenn from The Walking Dead, like how he exploited, like he exploited his childhood trauma for money. And his wife even exploited that too.
For money. I could tell you about all my childhood traumas for money.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you, I laughed because you keep using this word activated and activation. Like, it just cracks me up because you used it in The Boys. You're like, people are being activated. It just reminds me of...
Well, that was ridiculous, dude. They've been radicalized by and he's like, I'm going to shoot the guy that runs my local calculator store.
But you keep using this word activated, and it's just funny to me because, like... They literally have Key and Peele. They have an episode. Is that their names, or am I thinking of Good Burger? Okay.
No, Key and Peele.
Well, what's Good Burgers? What are they?
Keenan and Cal. Negan and Cal. What is their names?
I think it's Keenan and Cal.
Cal or something.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyways, it just sounds very similar. So they have a...
Jordan thinks all black names sound alike.
No. Okay, so there's a... It does make me hungry for lettuce, though. Kale?
What?
No? Okay.
Oh my god.
That's the dumbest joke ever told on this podcast.
No,
before.
I wasn't trying to make a joke. It's just... Okay.
I'm hungry for lettuce.
Oh, no, you said activated. So Keenan and Kel literally have a YouTube video with...
Wait, Key and Peele, or who are you talking about
Key and Kel.
Key and Peele. You
Are you talking about Key and
monkey.
Peele? Yeah. Are you talking about these guys? Or are you talking about
Kale.
Good Burger, folks?
Keen and Kel.
And
Because
Kale.
now you're mixing them.
Okay, so they have their YouTube channel, right? That was like really famous before they became big.
Yes, Key and Peele.
Key and Peele, yes.
Key and Peele.
And then when our boy, the comedian, my favorite comedian of all time, which I keep blanking on his name. 1 second.
They made a video with the Red Rocket or whatever that YouTuber's
Dave
called.
Chappelle. Wow, that was really bad. I blanked on his name. But anyway, he left his show on HBO.
Shush.
Yes, and Jordan and Peele came in and took over his show, the Dave Chappelle show, and that became Key and Peele's show.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
And so they made a video with, I think they're called Red Rocket. Anyways, and they did a Mexican standoff with 3 people. It was that YouTuber and then those 2. And then he says blueberry pie and then becomes quote unquote activated, and then he switches sides. So it's just funny because it's the same director acting, and you said activation because you keep using this word activated.
Get activated. Well, yeah, but anyway, I think it's interesting because in the end, like, the creature,
where did you hear this word? It's another one of those campy words. It's just
no. It's so I think of American Ultra. There was a Jesse Eisenberg and Kristen Stewart movie, American Ultra, where these kids get turned on. Like, it's basically like all the fluoride we're drinking in the water, all these like crazy conspiracy theories where it's like, or the flu vaccine for COVID, right? They were like, oh, the shot's gonna like mind control you. That's how they control you, right?
Okay.
And they're gonna flip a switch and you're gonna turn on to, or the SpongeBob, all the plankton head buckets, you know, come on your head, and then you're like, oh, I can, now I'm mind controlled. So you're getting activated for the evil empire or whatever. So
I'm just curious.
You're brainwashed and you flip a switch and then you're no longer yourself.
Back to your nitpicks, Cameron. What were you saying?
Yeah.
Okay, well, yeah. I mean, the cinematographer who just like, why? Who?
Yeah, so I have a thought about that. So one, I think, this is what I think. So one, you have Angel Torres, who's like a young and upcoming film director, and you have Michael Wincott, who's like this old-timey director, filmographer who has a long reputation of making good films. Everyone knows.
And what were the videos he was watching? That dude is a literal serial
just
killer.
Watching animals killing each other. Yeah, dude, he's psycho. Anyway, I love how his name was Antlers, too, which made me think of the antlers that...
in Get Out.
Okay, Kaluuya uses to stab the guy and Get Out, obviously. But what I really liked was I kind of took it as like, okay, so this is the old filmmaker and this is how we used to make movies, right? He's sitting there, I'll get the impossible shot. But he fails in doing so. Like, it ends up killing him and consuming him, right? This is a guy that dedicated his whole life to do his craft, trying to do the one thing, catch the unfilmable shot, right, is what they keep referring to. And in the end, it ends up consuming him and kills him. So, like, there's a bit of, like, the tortured artist in that. But what I thought was interesting is Angel Torres, he survives. And you actually see him with the camera at the end. And I'm like, I kind of took it as, like, Jordan Peele being like, let the younger generation come in now. Like, not to, like, bash on, like, Scorsese, still, but like, Steven Spielberg is my favorite one to pick on. Like, this is a guy that's proved himself. I mean, Jurassic Park is, like, a perfect movie. You have other movies and films that he's done that are really, really good. Jaws is a perfect film. So he's made several masterpieces. Saving Private Ryan, there's, like, 3.
The BFG.
And but my point is, yeah, now he's making films like BFG, and there's just no more heart and soul into it. Like,
we'll fix it in post.
We'll fix it in post. Yeah, who cares? And so it's like, to me, it's almost like Jordan Peele saying, like, you have nothing more to prove. Like, maybe you should step down and let someone that's eager and chomping at the bit for their chance to make the unfilmable shot. And it made me laugh because I also thought
like
it was like
S.
a
Craig
race
Zoller.
thing. Yeah, they're like, we need more diverse voices. That's what I kind of thought, because at the end, Emerald is the one that's filming with the well camera, and she captures the alien on her camera.
I thought that was pretty cool.
It's unconventional. It is cool, and in the end, it was like not necessarily forced, because they alluded to this many times. It wasn't like this dumb thing. It was like she's trying so hard to make this shot.
but
and I really liked it. All the sacrifice that went into making it. So anyway, I think that yes, him stepping down is like almost like Jordan Peele saying the villain are these old Scorsese, Spielberg, all these old filmmakers are like, step aside, old fart.
But that's
you need to
that's
get
what
sucked up in an alien and let us make the movie. Now we're gonna capture.
But see, Ty, that
that
kind of gets into my
uncatchable.
my nitpick of why. Like, see, I love what you're talking about, but see, I didn't like him in the movie. Well, I liked him, but I wasn't supposed to like him in the way that I liked him. I thought he was fetching hilarious, and I was supposed to think that he was like, oh my gosh, no, he's dying. And I was just like,
I don't know. I don't even know if that. I think he was like. I almost felt like this guy was weird. He was self-inflated ego. I thought it was really cool, like when he showed up and he's like, hey, I'm gonna help, and I was like, that's fetching cool. That made me like him for a second. And then at the very end, when he runs off, it doesn't make sense. And I'm like, but see, in the end, I'm like, yeah, that's his character. Like, he's so egomaniac.
But see,
he just had to capture the shot without anyone's help.
For me,
I'm gonna be the one to get it, and it kills him. Like, I mean,
for
it's
me,
like,
that was the same thing as the TMZ guy. The TMZ guy was the biggest plot device I've ever seen in my life. I'm like, he has zero relevance.
The guy on the motorcycle?
Yes. I was like, he has zero relevance, and he just shows up so she can have a motorcycle to get away on.
I don't know. I kind of loved him showing up. It was hilarious.
It was so random, and I'm like, I'm sure they would send more than just one random dude on a motorcycle.
Well, I don't know. He wasn't even like, what was he in it with?
He was just an independent YouTuber or whatever. I think he just wanted to
working for TMZ.
Become famous.
Even if he was, dude, there's some weird moments where like this entire stadium filled with people just disappear, and they blame it on a mudslide. Like they covered this thing up. That was one thing I wanted to ask you guys about the media. See, and I think it was funny that you mentioned the media. They intentionally showed you that they were portraying this as like, no, nothing's going on. There's there's nothing going on. Nothing weird to see here. This is just a mudslide.
Because the government knows about it, Ty. They always know about it. Shutter Island.
They tried to hide it.
He's not actually crazy.
It's not actually crazy. Yeah. So they were trying to hide it.
You can hear the hospital sounds in the background.
Beep, beep. Yeah. So anyway, I thought that was interesting. And you're right, Cameron, whether it's successful or not, or like it worked. So one last thing I wanted to say, you mentioned like grandizing or using the spectacle of childhood trauma, like that's what we have talk shows for. Like, you get like really disturbed people on there to tell their stories. What are the whole point of crime podcasts? It's just people that were victimized by evil people, and we sensationalize it and make money off of this thing. Like even Mr. Ballin's podcast, which I really like. He just finds really sad stories. I mean, these are really, that was 3 sads, by the way. It's just tragic stories about like people that were like victimized by cults, by crazy, mysterious and strange happenings, or just people that were just pure maliciously evil, acting out and murdering people.
All those stories should be made into movies.
They're very entertaining, but I think that's maybe what his point was. Jordan Peele talking about the spectacle. It's like, we like feed off of other people's trauma. Like Stephen Yeun even says, like, he's clearly still affected by it. There's a scene where he sees like the monkey murdering this co-star, and then it just like cuts back to him, and it like or even cuts away from. It was the weird.
was mid conversation, and then just showed
it was like
and
mid conversation, and it just cut, and you're like, and then like it goes back to him, and you're like, he's clearly like compartmentalized it, where he's trying, like he appears that he's okay, but like even his wife comes into him and asks him if he's doing okay. Like she's aware that like she's like pushing and milking her husband to the extreme. Like this poor guy could crack any minute, and he eventually does. Because see, here's the thing. This is the one thing that I really love that I didn't point out. It was something I heard either on a YouTube comment or on a YouTube video dissecting this movie. Stephen Yeun, he has this moment where he's looking at the ape, but he never makes direct eye contact with it. He looks through it through the tablecloth. So he sees the monkey and he never makes the eye contact, just like Daniel Kaluuya character OJ never looks in directly into the eye of the beast. What's so interesting is later you find out that Stephen Yeun has been feeding horses from OJ's farm to this beast, this alien, for weeks now. And you're like, holy shit, he's been buying up his horses and feeding him to this alien in the sky. And so he brings all these people to watch the spectacle with him. And he's like, hey, everybody watch this. You want to see something really cool? And then like he goes out, he's looking up in the sky, and then he has the horse.
Oh, he's
there,
early
and
today.
The freaking beast comes. Oh, he's early today. And he's like, everybody calm down. And then you just like the hat blows off his head. You can just see he's completely dumbfounded. He's like, I thought I could control the beast. I thought I could tame it. See, what's so interesting is he wasn't killed by the chimpanzee, and he thought because he was able to master that beast or whatever, because of his friendship or relationship or whatever, that the monkey didn't kill him. But maybe it was only because he never made direct eye contact. And so with this beast,
yeah, who knows?
he
3 more
finally
seconds and the monkey would have killed him.
It's true. Yeah, exactly. If it wasn't the cops that came in and shot the guy or whatever, or shot the
Yeah,
ape.
with the fetch and trying to
What
give
was
him
so funny
knuckles,
is-
man. He's just like,
yeah, Knuckles. But it was so great is he literally never makes eye contact with the chimpanzee, direct eye contact through the veil of the tablecloth.
yeah.
And so at the end when the beast appears, it like gobbles him up, all the other people in the stands, because everyone's looking up in the
and because for most animals
I thought that was really
in
cool,
the animal kingdom, like eye contact is always like a challenge. Because that's what I always joke with Kelsey that like that was my favorite part about, and that's like my favorite part about Labs and like Gus is like he'd always be like just like
Dude,
looking
my
side to
dog
side.
right now, yeah. You stare at it and it will look away. Like it'll submissively like look away. It's
Yeah,
hilarious.
because
like,
it doesn't
look at
want
me,
to challenge.
Look at me.
Yeah,
you like
and
look at your
you'll be
dog,
like
you're
2 inches from it,
"Look
and it'll
at
just be
me."
staring to the side. And so like I just think that was like
Don't break eye contact.
that was like interesting, but at the same time I felt like it was a little too much plot convenience. Like, oh, this alien's not gonna eat you if you don't look at it. I'm like,
Well, no, but what I thought was interesting is like he also puts like those light reflectors on the back of his hoodie, and it thinks that those are eyes, and it's like, oh, I'm coming after you. Like it was pretty scary. Like it could think that you're looking at it. Remember, that's what he did at the end. He pulls up his hoodie, and it has 2 reflectors from like a.
oh, is that what
do you
that was
call those,
supposed to be?
Yeah, he pulls up his hoodie, and that's why it starts chasing him, because he gets under it, and he goes, "Okay, go!" And he pulls up his hood and starts riding his horse, and then the beast is looking after him and starts coming after him because it thinks that its eyes are looking at him. It's like, "Oh, come here! I'm going to eat you!"
Like, why did he make the horse wear the colored cap? I didn't understand that. And he's like, he's not gonna get you, boy. And I was like, but the freaking mofo still won for him.
Oh, wait, with the color cap? I don't think it had anything to do with the cap. It had to do with the fact that like anytime, like you're talking about the fake horse or the real horse? Sorry.
The real horse.
Okay, the real horse.
He made
You
him
were
wear like
saying
he
the
made him
cap?
wear like the green cap, like with the eye holes.
Maybe so that. Oh yeah, so it couldn't see its eyes. That's
It
why.
wouldn't see its eyes because remember, again, the horse early on in the film gets spooked even by seeing its own reflection. So it's like, I don't want you to see the beast. I just want you to focus on where I guide you, right? Like, I mean, that's how I interpret it. But again, a lot to do with the eyes in this movie, and I really like that because again, that's the meta reading of like movie making and film consuming media. We see it and hear it, and I love that. Like, I just gobbled that up. But I thought that was really interesting. And the one last thing I wanted to say was, I also thought it was interesting, like all the different things like about Daniel Kaluuya's character OJ, like even his name being OJ. Like, do you guys think anything about that other than like OJ Simpson, obviously, like murdered his wife and everything? Like that was a whole spectacle. Yeah, I think of orange juice. It's like, yeah, the juice. Juice? No, I'm not thirsty. What's that movie from?
Paycheck. No, something. Blank check.
Blank check. Blank check. Juice? No, not thirsty. Not thirsty. All right. Anyway, so I think of like, as far as the name, like, again, his whole trial was a spectacle, right? I just thought that, again, that might be just like an emerald or like an Easter egg. I don't know. But I think it's interesting. I also loved the character, the father, Keith David, who's in Requiem for a Dream. He does voices in Rick and Morty.
Yes.
I love it. Otis Hayward Sr. and he's like owns this farm and he gets killed by a penny falling from the sky and you're like, what happened? You know, and they that image of the dad with the scar in his eye. It was so horrifying. Like,
Yeah, see that I wish they would have just gone more that route.
that's the
'cause
spectacle.
Yeah,
see, but see, that's interesting because again, that's almost feeding it, and it challenges your narrative because it's like it did give you some, but then there were other parts where I think Jordan Peele pulled his punches, and maybe it was good, maybe it wasn't, right? Like,
Well, and I think
there's something to be said
his
about
not
that.
looking at it kind of reminds me of like Jurassic Park, where it's like, don't move,
Don't
and
move,
the dinosaur
yeah.
can't see you, kind of thing. That
Yeah,
was
see,
his.
a lot of the elements that reminded me of other films, like I mean,
Or
this-
stick
this
out your
is-
hand to stop the velociraptors.
Oh, brother.
Oh my gosh, dude! I gotta tell you, we had a dinner
Some
party with this other
bullshit.
couple, and she was saying like, we're getting into watching the movies lately, and we went and saw. We just saw that new Jurassic World movie. It was so intellectually stimulating, and I was like, Jurassic World Dominion is not exactly what I'd call an intellectually stimulating movie. I was like, whatever.
Did you eat
To
dinner
each
with
his
a
own. Like
monkey?
maybe
What
the movie
the
went over their
fuck?
head a bit. It was like maybe the movie went over their head just a little bit. Maybe they didn't understand.
I
it.
was
Or
so
maybe they're like, "Wow, is this a movie? Is this like a really
Transformers
good movie?"
3 is the most groundbreaking movie I've ever seen.
Dude, I know, and I was just like, I didn't even bother to go see it. I stopped after the first rebooted one. I was like, oh, this is dumb. Like like they let the dinosaur out of the cage. They went into the cage and were like, where is it? And they left the fetching door open.
But
What
Ty,
the-
stop velociraptors.
But the movie had to happen. Watch Jurassic Park. They were espionage. There was corporate espionage by Newman's character. He shut down the park security system, which is why the dinosaurs got out. Coupled with the hurricane storm coming in, coupled in with everything else, it made sense. It's like we made this high security dinosaur pin, and like, where's the dinosaur? I don't know. Let's go and look for it. Holy shit, where is it? They opened the door. They're like, I don't see it. You see it anywhere?
Yeah,
I'm like, it can camouflage.
with the
Get the freak
yeah,
out.
with the
And then it gets
dinosaur
out
that
and the
they
whole
gave
park-
camouflage to. I'm like,
Oh, what
What?
a bunch of, it's the scariest dinosaur. Like, why on the fudge would you give a dinosaur that's supposed to bring in eyeballs to look at, give it the ability to camouflage? People are going to see the stupid attraction if you do this. So dumb. I could go on and on.
Yeah.
We'll talk about Jurassic Park another day when we talk about all the other. Alan. Jurassic Park 3.
dude,
Alan.
anytime I see his face, dude, I just instantly think Alan.
Alan. Alan Grant.
Fetching
Dude, Sam
velociraptor
Neill is
talking to him.
amazing.
He's great.
So good.
I love Sam Neill, but man.
Yeah, what did I just see him
I
in?
wouldn't even bother to see the new one.
He was just.
I love him in Event Horizon. He was also in that movie you really like with
Hunt for the Wilder
it's
People.
Hunt for the Wilder People. Yeah,
It was great.
No, I know, but I saw him in something recently, or maybe
Jurassic Park.
Maybe it was just a trailer.
he was in Thor. He's in all the Thor movies.
Oh, maybe
Wait,
that
what?
was-
No,
He's
you're
in
talking
Thor
about-
Ragnarok and the Thor Love and Thunder. He was
Well,
one of
so
the
then,
actors.
okay, but wait, Sam Neill was? Or are you
Yes.
talking about Jeff Goldblum now? Jeff
Sam
Goldblum
Neill.
was.
No, Sam
Oh,
Neill.
are we talking about Jeff?
I'm talking about Sam Neill.
He's talking about Sam.
Yeah.
Who's talking about Jeff and no Jordan?
You were talking about Jeff
slow down.
Goldblum?
You think Sam Neill is in Thor Ragnarok?
Yes, he's one of the actors, and Matt Damon's in it too.
Oh, yeah.
Sam Neill's in it? I
Yeah,
didn't
so
know that Sam
Matt
Neill
Damon's
was
in
it.
both of
He-
them as well. It's funny.
He
I remember Matt Damon. He's in that performance where he's pretending to be Loki, right?
Yeah.
Matt
Yeah.
Damon's being Loki.
and
Sam Neill was in
and the
it?
father. He plays the father.
Oh, he plays Anthony
Yeah.
Hopkins' father. Oh,
Yeah.
okay. I have to see that again. That's hilarious. See, now that I hear that, I'm like, well, of course he would use Sam Neill because he had used him in
Hunt for the Wilder People.
Hunt for the Wilder People. Yeah, but he was also in what was the other movie? You said he was also
Thor
in the
Love and Thunder.
Oh, I haven't seen Love and Thunder, have I?
It's
No.
garbage.
Yeah, so Multiverse of Madness, but yeah, I don't really have any desire to see it.
Don't.
I do want to see Korg though, because like, mind you, get this. You know how we live in a time where I mentioned that they're rewriting history? Korg in Love and Thunder says my ma. Like he literally refers to his mother. Like,
Yeah,
and
he's
so,
like,
again,
he's like
they
my
just
mom. He's like my
retroactively
mom.
Go back.
My mom's boyfriend. She said my mom's boyfriend.
That's what he said. Yeah,
came
it's
to
Korg
my-
makes a comment about this about his mother. So I'm like, okay, I guess one of his Korg dads was
No.
a mother. I guess one of them was.
They're gonna
playing
go
the
in
role of
and
mother.
change that. You know,
They
'cause
will.
somebody's gonna
They will.
point that
That's what I'm
out.
saying. Rather than admit that they just made this bullshit up to be woke and to be representation, but it's like they are making the mistake of being like, oh, we'll just go back and change the line to father.
Ty,
They're just gonna keep doing this.
Ty,
dude.
go,
It's
Ty,
a
go,
weird time
go
to
and
live in.
watch it like when it comes on Disney Plus, and just skip to all the Christian Bale scenes, dude. He does such.
He
a
is
good
amazing.
Job. Like
I do wanna see it for
his
that reason,
creepy,
yeah.
his creepy like fingers together, like hovering over the children was so sketch. I was
And I
like,
love seeing
That wasn't
freaking
even the
Russell
best
Crowe
part, in
not
my
giving a
opinion.
fudge, dude. I want to see Russell Crowe just being like
I
letting loose,
hated
like
him.
ever since Unhinged, dude.
I was surprised. I was
Did they
kind of
bruise
bummed.
him?
I was
They
actually
ruined
excited
him.
for him.
They
and
wasted him.
Yeah, he
I
was
figured they
horrid.
wasted him.
He was walking
Because
around in
they
a
can all
tutu.
point to him and be like, "Oh, see, isn't he despicable?" It's like, dude. that
No,
was
not
an actor,
despicable. He
man.
was walking around in a tutu. He was being silly.
That's what I'm saying. Like they mocked him. They made him
Oh,
a butt end of a joke.
yeah.
Like you could still like be tongue in cheek and be silly, but it's like just debasing him, like making him a total laughing
Anyways, do
stock.
we
That's just something
recommend
else
this
entirely.
movie?
Recommend? I recommend Jordan.
No.
Is that what you
Yeah.
said? Highly recommend this movie. I think it was. If you want to go see like a good summer film, this is it. Like
Yeah.
this is fun popcorn. Watch the movie. You don't even have to think too hard because it is a straightforward narrative. But there's also some fun things you can pick away at, like we discussed here. So
Yeah, it's definitely a fun fun movie to discuss. But
Oh,
just
real
kinda
quick, I have to mention Nope. The title, not of Planet Earth. The acronym Nope, which I really
cool.
like. Not of Planet Earth, the alien. It's so good. There's what I really want to instill on everybody here is that you can take so many little nuggets out of everything that Jordan Peele does because he very meticulously goes through his movies, and I think he really enjoys making them. So I'm glad he takes the time to make these movies, and there's a lot of things to enjoy. Like even the praying mantis reminded me of the movie Them or They Live or whatever one it is. It's these giant ants in the desert that get like nuclear tested and they like eat people. There's giant ants. Like it's a horrifying spectacle, but like it reminds me of the praying mantis when it appears on the camera. It just made me think of that horror movie, They Live. So anyway, Cameron, what have you seen lately, and what are you looking forward to seeing?
I've been crazy busy lately, but literally all I've watched is that was two weeks ago. Yeah,
Young Justice.
I rewatched Rise. It's the
Rise. Dark Knight Rises.
It's actually a Disney movie about my favorite basketball player, Giannis, who his family are Nigerian refugees who moved to Greece, and then that was where
What a snooze fest.
where he learned to play basketball, and then like he got drafted into the NBA in order to, and then like when his parents left Nigeria, they had to leave a child behind with his grandmother, and so
gosh.
they like Giannis getting into the NBA helped them get enough money in order to reunite the family, and then also like provide for the family.
That's really sweet. I feel bad about what I said earlier.
It's a super cool story, and it's just like these two Nigerian parents just working super hard to, and it's crazy because they have 3 sons in the NBA. All 3 of them have won NBA championships, and then one is in the minors of the NBA, like the G League. And so it's so crazy that they were a family that they used to have 4 boys share a queen mattress. I think it might even been a twin. And so 4 of these like 2 teenagers and like 2 like adolescents sharing the same
so
bed.
you thought we had it rough sharing a mattress all throughout
And then
high school.
and then
man.
and at the same time the parents are sleeping on the couch together. It's crazy, and it's so amazing what they like, everything that they did. And like he would, in between like his basketball games in school, they would be street vendors to help out their parents.
they could have solved a lot of this problem if they just let Sandra Bullock, adopt each one of them and give them a really amazing lifestyle,
Yeah, and so it's such a cool show, and showed it to, I knew Mom and Dad would really like it, and Dad was crying in it. So there's a lot, and it's a really cool, and
Mission accomplished.
it's surprising, and
Get him in touch with this
even Mom and Dad were
soft
both
side.
talking about how they were so surprised that a Disney movie would ever allow something that was so that had like talked about God so much, and it's because it was co-produced by Giannis himself, and like just as FY because Giannis is now one of like the best players in the world. And like probably like he has his own shoe line, and it's super cool too because him and his brother, when they started playing basketball, used to have to, like when one would be on the court, when that brother would come off the court, he would like take off his shoes and give it to his like Giannis, his brother, to go on and play. And then now Giannis has his own line of shoes at Nike. They're called the Zoom Freaks. And so it's really cool just kind of like where they came from, sharing shoes on the basketball court. He would literally wear like the Argentine like sand slippers, Jordan, that like Ryan was obsessed with or whatever. Like those like moccasins almost. He would wear those like on the court when they had to be on at the same time. So yeah, just super cool to see their story, and just like really inspirational. And like they talk a lot about God and how like, he answers like our prayers, and he has a way, he never makes mistakes. So super good. And then I've also just been watching tons of Young Justice, which is fetching amazing. I know I'm 7 years old, but it's so good. Their season 2 is perfect. It's not, I can't even compare it to Invincible, but it's like the closest thing to Invincible ever. So for me, it goes season 2, 1, and then 3, and then I'm on 4 right now. 3 was just like they started kind of throwing in a message in there every once in a while, like
Aqualad, who's the what do you call it, the sidekick to Aquaman's, out of literally nowhere. I was like, what? They just like two cartoon. I was like,
You mean the Seaman was? What are you talking about? How was that not the most obvious thing?
I was like, what the fudge? And then there was like this other thing where it was like they talked about, because this like girl got possessed by a mother box, which is just like a living organism. It's a living like technology, and
it's not the same mother box from the.
It is, but it's just
no. You're thinking of monkeypox, Jordan.
No, yes, Jordan. It is for the same thing from that. What's his name always says, the mother box.
The mother box.
Yeah. So
My
yeah,
Fruit Loops.
And also they do Cyborg story like the Justice League, except so well. Like, and it's just super cool because like all their backstories are really good, and there's just like a lot of good drama and multidimensional.
Sorry, the Snyder Cut is all you need. The Snyder Cut saved us all. It saved the internet. We can all come together and agree that Joss Whedon's Justice League was absolute garbage.
Yeah. But yeah,
I never saw it, and I was like, it couldn't be that bad. And I watched like all the differences between the shows, and I was like, holy, like who signed?
Cameron, did you fall asleep or did I fall asleep? I can't remember.
I think we both fell asleep. So bad. Like I was like,
I just remember
like it did not translate.
That
well.
was the first movie.
Yikes.
That was one of the first movies I ever turned off. Like I just remember you and me watching
it. We were even skipping through it.
Yeah, we were skipping through it to try to even get to
better.
the action scenes, and then we were just like, oh man, this is rough. And then we just like, all right, let's turn this off. Let's put on an actual.
I
good
enjoyed
movie.
the dialogue scenes more than the action scenes at these these days.
Yeah.
I really do. I just care about characters. So
yeah.
Stop all the fighting.
See, and that's the thing too. Is because the Young Justice talks about Darkseid and Apocalypse and all that stuff, and does it way better than Justice League. Even the Snyder Cut, they do it better than the Snyder Cut.
And you have one season left, you said?
Yeah, I just started the last season, season 4.
How many seasons are there?
I think there's 4. The 4th one got picked up by HBO Max, so that's why they're on there. It's made by HBO Max, so clearly there must be enough people watching it.
They're a good show. Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, HBO, they're like the quality programming. I always look to them like, I'm going to go watch True Detective now because, again, they're like, no, we're not going to be muddled by subpar, shows. And I think they have some of the best TV out there. I really do. Good storytelling. Just put a priority. And it's not even necessarily always the budget. It's just good storytelling, which is like my favorite thing I look to these days because half of the stuff is unwatchable. Half of it. I mean, more than half of it. My goodness. Have you seen She-Hulk? I watched the first 2 episodes of She-Hulk.
Stop.
And
stop putting yourself
through
through
that.
that.
It's good. It is so bad it's
Stop.
good. But watch
Get
it.
help.
It is
Get some help.
mind-numbing. Oh my word. I still need to go back and watch Captain Marvel, and I need to watch Boba Fett. Those are the only 2 things I have not seen of Disney. I watch every single thing. They have a new Pinocchio movie coming out, and Tom Hanks is Geppetto. And I was like, Tom Hanks, you're better than this. What are you doing? He's a creepy little wood puppet maker. He's got Pinocchio.
Dude, Disney owns him.
However much they're paying you, Tom, I'll double it.
Made me think of The Simpsons. like literally, they had Jordan. They did the parody that they did in The Simpsons. They were like, he came out and he was talking about like the economy or something like that, or vaccines or Biden. I don't know what it was, but I was like, they trotted out Tom Hanks. He literally said in The Simpsons movie back in 2008 or 13, whenever The Simpsons movie came out, he was like, the government's lost its credibility, so it's borrowing some of mine. Like, it was Tom Hanks. And they actually had him in the movie making that joke, and they literally did it. Like, we're beyond parody now. Just saying.
Well, Tom Hanks made it in the Simpsons movie, too. I thought that was a great cameo.
Yeah, well, that's what I just said. The Simpsons movie.
Oh.
I was quoting it. Yeah, he says, the government has lost its credibility, so
Dude,
it's
you know
borrowing
what
some
this
of
is kind of
mine. He was
reminding me
mocking
of?
the
Dude, have
government.
you ever seen the
And then
Simpsons
they literally
movie?
trotted him out and did like an ad for Biden.
Have you ever seen The Simpsons movie? Tom Hanks has a really great cameo.
Well, you said
Jordan's a
Biden. He
little
never mentions Biden in the original Simpsons movie.
No, because
you were talking about 2 separate things.
Oh my goodness, Jordan. I love you so much. Go back and listen to it. You'll have a good laugh about it. Okay. Everyone listening understands. Anyway, because he did cut a real trailer in the real world is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Tom Hanks is in a new commercial that just came out for Biden. And yes, it made me think of The Simpsons because he literally mocks the government being like, they're using Hollywood actors like me because they have no credibility. So they're using some of mine, which is so funny.
Well, I just watched Team America with my wife last night, and so it was like...
Oh my gosh.
It's so funny, the FAQ... Oh, no.
It's the Film Actors Guild.
And all these
Film
actors like
Actors
Sean
Guild,
Penn and
yes.
stuff.
Rather
like,
than SAG, which is the Screen Actors Guild. SAG. They
Yeah.
called it
Well, and it's
Film
like
Actors Guild.
it's like Sean Penn and Alec Baldwin, all these actors like
Matt Damon.
our politics, you know, like people listen to us and it's like, oh brother.
Oh, it's so great, dude. Dude,
Anyway,
Team
sorry,
America
did
is
you
probably one of
finish,
the funniest
Cameron?
movies.
Yeah, no, and then
Yeah, I interrupted you.
what I'm
She-Hulk. Go watch it.
don't put yourself through that. I kind of want to watch. Someday I'll get to the last episode of Obi-Wan, but I never watched any of it. But I've heard the last episode's good. But I just want to see Vader, Kenobi.
But again, the best thing they ripped it off from the cartoon. I've heard. So even the best part they ripped.
they ripped off from
something else.
okay.
From the Clone Wars cartoon. It's like, wow, like I didn't even watch that, but I'm like, the best
Clone
part
Wars
about
is
it was
amazing.
literally ripped off from a better cartoon.
Yeah,
wow. Stealing from a kid's show. Jordan, what have you seen lately, man? What are you looking forward to seeing?
You mentioned you saw the Mick Gruber movie. They actually started a TV show, and I started that with Tatiana. I was not digging it, so
Yeah.
we
The movie
went.
was funny. Will Forte is a great. I love him.
Well, I love Will Forte, so I got excited to watch something from him. So we went and saw. I rewatched it for the third time. A Futile and Stupid Gesture, which he is so funny. Oh my gosh,
It's great.
And
Extraordinary too is a great one.
I couldn't get into Peacemaker. I still need to finish it, but I started the first episode. I'm like, ugh, so much politics and vomit. And then The Rehearsal is amazing. I've already said that. You guys need to watch it.
Ty, one of my buddies at work who he had the same. He loved your theory about like kind of what you're talking about for Nope. He kind of saw that as well as like intake in media, and then he was the one that recommended Rehearsal to me, Jordan, the same day you did. So,
interesting. Yeah.
and he loves
I do want to check it out.
And started a TV show called Little Demon. I'm still gonna finish it, but
I saw that. Danny DeVito and Aubrey Plaza.
Yeah, I'm not loving it, but I love all the violence. And then the last two I watched, I started Studio 666. I thought it was going to be a fun cult film, but it was dumb. I haven't finished
the
it.
Foo Fighters, right? They're like possessed. That looked funny. I was going to see that.
Food Fighters?
Yeah, it's the band, Foo Fighters.
Oh, is it? I had no idea that was the band.
Yeah.
And then the last one is documentary that you guys all do need to watch. So you guys need to watch The Rehearsal and a documentary called Untold, The Girlfriend Who Didn't Exist. It's... Cameron, you would recognize this guy's name.
Is it like the catfish one? Is it Manti Te'o?
Yeah, Manti Te'o. His story is crazy. Holy crap.
Yeah, he was
you have to text all this to me. I can't remember any of this.
He was a linebacker.
True Detective.
He was a linebacker for Notre Dame, and he got like bullied. Well, everyone made fun of him because he had a girlfriend. He got like catfished by. He thought he had an online girlfriend for like a year or two, and she fetched didn't exist. And so that got found out like right at the end of football season, so everyone was just roasting the crap out of him. And so they'd say like my GPA is my GPA is as real as Manti Te'o's girlfriend, stuff like that. Or like
sad.
Mom, I have a job. It's as real as Manti Te'o's girlfriend.
I love it. It's as real as Manti Te'o's girlfriend.
But
I like that. I'm gonna start using that.
But he talks about that stuff, and he just, he did everything right, and unfortunately, the internet just slaughtered this poor kid. So
Yeah,
poor guy.
The church posted about him, I think.
Yeah, now it's become a big thing. Watch this documentary, Cameron. It's so good. Like I was in tears. It's beautiful. Not the fact that his cousin was the person who catfished him.
No way.
Yeah.
Girl cousin?
Spoiler alert.
Well, it's a girl now, but it was a boy at the time.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Oh, that is
So
horrific.
I watched King of Staten Island starring Pete Davidson, Bill Burr, and Aunt May from Spider-Man, the new Spider-Man movies.
Oh,
it's really good.
So hot.
King of Staten Island's a really sweet comedy.
Oh,
it's like
it's
a
so
comedy with
good.
heart. It's very good. Cameron, have you seen King of Staten Island?
Highly recommend it.
I was thinking about choosing it for my movie for the podcast, so maybe we can
do
talk
it.
about it more in depth because it's like a comedy with heart. I really liked it, and Cameron, I don't know why, but Pete Davidson reminds me a lot of you. Like,
Really? I think more of our cousin Corey.
definitely like life
You say I
choices,
always
Corey, we love
you
you
say
on
I
the
always
podcast.
remind you of Corey Jordan. So
Personality.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
You are a lot
Persona-
like Corey, actually, now that I think about it.
Yeah, personality-wise, you remind me of Pete Davidson, but like personal life choices, he's definitely like, from tattooing minors to to all the crazy antics. But the movie is like really funny. I was laugh out loud funny, and it doesn't hold any punches. And
Dude,
it's
Judd
very real.
Apatow, man. He makes
I
some
was like,
great
this
movies.
this would be a good turn for his career, where it's just like highlights this type of life that I've never seen. The actress, I need to point her out. She was phenomenal. It reminded me of like a performance, kind of like Florida Project, where it's like, this is not an actress. This is like a real person they pulled.
Or Uncut Gems, like just
Yes,
she
yes.
looks, so she acts literally like that person, you know.
Yeah, it
Who
was.
is it? Aunt May?
No, she was good in it, but Cameron, her name, I'm pulling it up right now. Like
She's
she
so
just
hot.
behaves like someone from Queen. Or I
Oh,
don't know,
and I
from
watched
Staten Island.
that comedy sketch, Ty, you recommended with Bill
Bill
Burr.
Burr.
So funny.
It was great.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Bill Burr's in this. So the top cast. Her name is Belle Powley, and her name is Kelsey in the movie. So you should watch it, Cameron. She's a little fiery, and it's freaking great. So her character is so well done and so unbelievably performed by her. I was blown away.
Jordan, did you like Pete
And so
Davidson
the
in
movie,
Bodies,
it's like
Bodies,
a comedy
Bodies?
heart.
I personally did. I liked it. I mean, a little too much stuff, but beyond that, like I'm excited. I hope we actually do that one because I think Ty's gonna love it because they just rip at playfully. Like I think Gen Zs can still enjoy it, but they just totally poke fun at them.
I was baffled because again I didn't think I liked Pete Davidson only because like he's part of the SNL generation I've already signed off on, right? Like I grew up with Jake from Brooklyn Nine-Nine. What's his name?
Jordan's favorite actor of all time. Yeah, Jordan.
Eisenberg. What's his name? Ron. What's his name?
I'm on
No, I
a
can't-
boat.
Hot Man.
I'm
Yeah,
on
or
a
Hot
boat.
Hot Rod. What's his name? Adam Sandberg. Thank you. Jeez, thank you.
Andy.
Guys. No help.
Andy.
ground.
Andy Sandberg, Bill
Andy
Hader, yeah, Kristen
Sandberg.
Wiig, all those.
Andy
yeah, all
Sandberg,
those actors.
brother.
That's what I said. Andy Sandberg.
Adam Sandberg.
Oh, I did say.
You were just saying
Well,
Adam
no help to you
Sandler.
guys. I was sitting here floundering for a name, and you're like, "Who are you talking about?" Bill Hader, Andy Sandberg, and all these types. Like that was my generation of SNL, right? And you grow up and thinking they're the funniest guys, and they go off to make Brooklyn Nine-Nine great shows and great things. And then like you see a movie like this, and I was like, Pete Davidson, like yeah, he's got heart. Like this movie was very honest. I enjoyed it, and he was one of the producers. Like this is like
That
I
was
guess,
one of the first movies
one
I
of
saw
his
of Pete
stories.
Davidson. That's why I was like, I don't know why you hate him so much in Suicide Squad or The Suicide Squad.
Well, again, he's just to me like okay. So like all I know about
like
him
he
is
has
like,
the most
I've seen
punchable
him
face.
in interviews. Well, yeah, he has the most punchable face. I heard him in an interview once making a joke about people like complaining about not getting back to work. I'm like, this is a millionaire actor. Like I don't want to hear it from him when he's like, hey guys, stop you complaining. Like just wear the freaking mask and shelter in place or whatever. And you're like, easy for you to say, you freaking idiot. Like you make more than enough money, so to have you chastise. So anyway. That turned me off to him for a while, and again, like usually, I feel like Byron now. Where I'm like, I care about someone's
politics
personality.
guy?
Yeah, exactly.
Dad's like,
No, but in the
Samuel
end, I'm like-
Jackson sucks as an actor. I'm like, he's one of the
in
best
the end,
actors
okay,
of all
so
time.
in the end,
he's a
he's
flaming liberal,
dating,
though.
he's dating Ariana Grande, right?
No,
and
not
then
anymore.
he mocked some veterans. No, I know I said he was. So he's dating Ariana Grande, and then he was a stand-up comedian, and he had this comedy special.
Well, you didn't
and
say
it
was,
like-
you just said he's
Yeah,
dating.
he's
Well, okay, at the time he did
Yes,
this
at the
comedy special,
time.
and he mocked a veteran. So all these things were coming out. I'm like, sounds like a little I'd like to punch. And so every time I saw him in a film, I was like, he's got a really punchable face. So I don't know why people like him. Then he's dating fetching Kim Kardashian. It's like he's like the biggest movie star of all time. But then I found out like he's like what do you call it? Self-deprecating, like
Degrading,
He can
yeah.
he doesn't take himself too seriously, even though like I mean, what's next for him in his career? He's gonna start dating Queen Elizabeth? Like holy. This guy has like the resume of like anyone I've ever seen. He's just everywhere. And like all of a sudden everyone's talking about it. So anyway, I watched King of Staten Island because I love comedies with heart. And so like I saw it on the thing and I was like, oh, it has Bill Burr and I just watched this special. So I was like, I'll watch it.
Yeah.
If anything for Bill Burr. And then I actually watched the trailer first to see what I was getting into. And then like I was laughing hysterically in the trailer. And I was like, oh, they're going to do all the funny parts there. No, like the movie is really sweet. And of course I saw the other actors. Steve Buscemi's in it. Like I had everyone. I was like, oh, fetch yes. I'm signing on. Sign me up. And I watched the movie. I was not disappointed.
Steve
I
Buscemi
love Steve
scares
Buscemi,
me.
dude.
Just looking at his
Dude, he's
face
so great.
makes me
Dude,
want to crawl
watch
into
this
a
movie.
hole.
He's such a grumpy old man in this movie. Cameron, you got to watch it, dude. It's
I
great.
hate looking
It
at his
also has
face.
the kid from American Vandal. He's great. He was also in The Wolf of Snow Hollow. It had the guy, when you see the killer, you shoot his head till you see the ground through his head or whatever. You're like, that guy. He has like a little mustache and they'll mock him for it. Anyway, so it's hilarious. Watch the movie. It's like a coming of age / like for millennials and Gen Zers, really. Like a coming of age specific, like how would
Just
I
like
describe it?
Bodies.
This movie was kind of like a coming of age. It felt like watching Kings of Summer Like, did you watch that one, Cameron?
Yeah, I like that one.
Yeah. So this one's like Kings of
Well, we
Summer,
built
but
that
it's
one
a
up
little
a
more
little too much
crass.
for Cameron.
And he goes like,
No,
you
but
like
I mean,
Perks of Being a Wallflower? This will be the best movie you've ever seen in your life, then.
Yeah, it's the coming of age movie, but this one is like, I don't know. It reminds me a lot more of you, but it's really well done. It's like King of Summer meets like the Florida Project is how I would describe it.
I've never seen Florida Project.
Pretty gritty at times. Florida Project, that's a tough watch. I don't know if you ever should watch that movie. William Dafoe's so freaking good. and the
Yeah, or
actress in
you
that
should
is so
watch any of that guy's movies. Holy crap, they're very brutal. Like,
good. Yeah, I don't think I'll watch anything. I watched Florida Project and I was like, okay, I got everything that this guy's about. Holy crap.
Well, did you watch?
Yeah.
So his
Didn't watch Tangerine, no.
No, I didn't finish that one. But his newest one, Red Rocket, it's just like Lolita. Like, it's so good, but it's also like I felt gross afterwards.
Yeah.
Like I needed
Don't know
to
if I could
shower.
watch that one. And then the other film I watched It Comes at Night again with my brothers-in-law. They really liked it because they love The Last of Us.
Oh, no.
Which I watched it again. I was like, this is Last of Us. This is literally the movie Last of Us.
Don't tune out yet, Cassie. We're not fighting.
But anyway, I just wanted to say after watching it again, I can positively tell all the viewers on this show that I was right and Cameron was wrong. So I'm so glad that I watched it again. And no, I'm kidding. In the end, the movie is intentionally ambiguous, and it kind of made me upset watching it again because I was like, you know what? Screw you, filmmaker. Because even if you want to make ambiguity in your film, you should at least be like, I intentionally put these things in there for my point of view, which is this. But you're free to interpret it whatever way you want. Instead, it's like, there is no answer. It's like, fudge you. 2 + 2, there is an answer, and it's 4. Okay? Get it through your thick skull. There is an answer, and whether you want to say, hey, there's this roundabout way in which you can make 2 + 2 = 5. Great. Go for it. I just like it when someone has an opinion and not just, I intentionally left the movie blank so no one gets
just
right
know
and no
that
one's wrong.
You're not right, but you're not wrong.
Brilliant. I couldn't have said it better, Cameron. Hey, everybody, this has been Futro Hidden Movie Gems. We love you, listeners. Give us a 5-star review after I just shouted you with praise, right? I said we love you. Now you have to give us a 5-star review. That's how it works.
Yeah, we're rocking a flawless 5-0 right
real
now.
quick,
So
one thing I was
anyone that
looking forward to
ruins that
saying, I
will
was
hunt you down.
I was about to mention the Kevin Hart and it's called Me Time. Kevin Hart and Mark Wahlberg in a movie comedy. And it's called Me Time, and I was like, I was going to watch it. The Rotten Tomatoes gave it like a 6%. So I was like, maybe I'll just skip this comedy. Yikes! I love Kevin Hart and I love Mark Wahlberg. How could this go wrong? Well, I did watch Uncharted. That movie had Mark Wahlberg. Absolutely terrible.
Oh my gosh! I just watched Game Night, and she's like,
Game Night is so funny.
I know, but and she's like, Mark Wahlberg wouldn't be in that small of a role. Oh, would he?
Would he not? Yes, exactly. No, now, yes, he has become.
Dude,
a
I think of
therapy
that.
himself.
I think of that
I'm an
line where she
inventor.
says, she's like, "I have children." He's like, "Not with that, you don't." And she's like, "Thank you." I think of that all the time. I think it's so.
Hey, everybody, we just want to thank you, man, for tuning into Future Hidden Movie Gems. It's been such an honor and a privilege to be here with you. Anyway, that was my best Mark Wahlberg impression.
Marky Mark.
Not bad. Anyway, Future Hidden Movie Gems, leave us an email, futuremovies@gmail.com. Tell us a movie you'd like us to review in the future, especially if it's foreign film, because I don't want to go watch all those weird art house movies. You guys find the good ones, and I'll be like, hey, Korea, there's hope for you. Like that movie. I like that one, too. And leave us a 5-star review and tell us a movie that you'd like us to review or a movie that we reviewed in the past and we were wrong about. It Comes at Night, for example. Everybody, this has been Future Hidden Movie Gems, signing out. Peace.
Bye.
Oh.